Hey man, I'm Jusko from ProblemMoney.com. In this video, we are going to look at the best credit cards here in 2023. As I make this video, we have just turned over into 2023. Perhaps one of your resolutions is to upgrade your credit cards if you have old, bad credit cards and you want some better, good reward cards, or if you have okay cards and you want to upgrade from there. Now, to start off with, my belief is that about 90% of the people out there who are looking to upgrade their credit cards would be happiest if they were going with cashback rewards and they had no annual fee cards. So what I'm going to do to start this video is look at a 3-card lineup that I would say almost all people out there looking for cards would be happy with, and I'm actually going to take that 3-card lineup in order in terms of how I would get those credit cards if I was starting from scratch. The first card in that lineup, the Wells Fargo Active Cash Visa. No annual fee, 2% flat cash back on all of your purchases. So you don't have to think about any categories or anything like that. You just know you're going to get 2% cash back on everything. So if you're someone that doesn't care a whole lot about credit cards, but you want to feel like you're getting decent rewards, this is a card that might fit the bill if you only want to hold one card. Now there are other 2% flat cashback cards that are pretty much the same as this card out there on the market. This one wins as I'm making this video because you also can earn a $200 bonus as a new card holder when you get this card if you spend $1,000 in the first few months of having it. Number 2, the Blue Cash Everyday Card from American Express. No annual fee. You are earning enhanced rewards in everyday categories. 3% back at US gas stations, 3% back at US supermarkets, 3% back on online retail purchases made with US merchants. So take this card, use it along with the Active Cash Visa that we just talked about with the 2%. You've got enhanced rewards on a lot of your everyday categories and 2% as filling in everything else. Number 3, the Citi Custom Cash Card, no annual fee. This card automatically gives you 5% cash back in the purchasing category where you spend the most each billing cycle on up to $500 of purchases in that top spend category. So the potential 5% categories and the way I use it, the first one is restaurants. And so when I'm thinking about this with those other 2 cards, that's kind of how I'm looking at this. But you could get that 5% at restaurants or gas stations or grocery stores or home improvement stores or select travel purchases, streaming services, and there's some other categories as well. So again, 3-card lineup here, you could have 5% at restaurants, 3% on grocery stores, 3% on online purchases, 3% gas, 2% back everywhere else. For 90% of people, like I said earlier, that 3-card lineup probably going to make you pretty happy and you might be done. Now 90% of people is not everyone. That means there are 10% of people that would not be satisfied with that 3-card lineup I just gave you. Some of those people might want more cards to get even more cash back in certain categories or with certain retailers. Or you may be someone that doesn't want cash back. You instead really want to go after some of those travel rewards that you're always hearing people talk about either on the internet or your annoying friends who are telling you they're going everywhere for free. So we are going to start by talking about more cash back cards that you might consider if you wanted to complement the 3-card lineup I already said, or maybe switch out a card depending on what your needs are and what you can qualify for, all that good stuff. And then we will get back to the sort of travel rewards path in a minute. There are lots of other good cashback cards on the market. So first, let's look at some cards that are going to offer you at least 3% cashback in multiple categories. Maybe you'd use one of these cards to replace that Blue Cash Everyday card that we talked about, or maybe to further complement those cards that we talked about. So you've got the Capital One Saver One card that's going to give you 3% cashback in multiple spending categories. The Wells Fargo Autograph Visa, same thing, 3% in multiple categories. US Bank Altitude Go, which is particularly strong at restaurants, giving you 4% back. You've got the AAA Daily Advantage Visa, a card that I really like, but you do have to go through AAA in order to get it, but you don't have to be a AAA member. It's going to give you 5% back on groceries, 3% back in some other categories. All of those good choices. Now you might want to further complement your cashback scheme with one of the 5% rotating category cards. The Discover It card going to give you 5% cash back in certain categories that change each calendar quarter. Same thing for the Chase Freedom Flex. There are also some cards out there that aren't quite rotating categories, but I think of them almost as like choose your own adventure cards. There's the US Bank Cash Plus, where you can choose multiple 5% categories as well as a 2% category. There also is the Bank of America Customized Cash Card, where you can get 3% in a category of your choice, as well as potentially some other enhanced rewards. If you are a Bank of America customer that has a lot of money parked with Bank of America, you may be part of their preferred rewards program, which would make the customized cash card even stronger. If you have some go-to retailers where you shop often, getting their credit card could be a no-brainer. First off, if you are a paid Amazon Prime member, getting the Amazon Prime Visa, a no-brainer. You're going to get 5% back in rewards on your Amazon and Whole Foods purchases as a paid Prime member. Now, if you're not a paid Prime member, you still might like the card because you're going to get 3% back at Amazon and Whole Foods, and there are some other rewards as well. But for a paid Prime member, a no-brainer to get this card. The Target Red card, if you're a frequent Target shopper, you're going to get a 5% discount on your Target purchases with the Red card. If you are shopping at Target all the time and you don't have this card, you're paying 5% more than everybody else. The Walmart credit card, if you're doing a lot of shopping at Walmart, you obviously would want to look at that as well. With both the Target and the Walmart cards, you're going to want to look at those if you do the majority of your grocery shopping at one of those stores, because oftentimes with the other credit cards that we are talking about, if they're giving an enhanced reward on grocery store purchases, they do not consider Target and Walmart to be grocery stores because they are superstores that do a lot of other stuff. So if you're doing a lot of your grocery store purchases at Target or Walmart, you're probably going to want their credit cards. Costco and Sam's Club both have credit cards that maybe you would choose. I don't think they are as crucial to have if you're a frequent shopper at those places as the cards I just talked about, but definitely take a look at those and see if they work with how you spend. If you are a Verizon customer, the Verizon Visa has some really nice rewards on a lot of everyday categories. In terms of redeeming those rewards, the best way to do so is toward your Verizon bill or toward Verizon purchases. So it only makes sense for Verizon customers, but it's a good card. So that is cash back, and I know I am leaving out a lot of cards that are out there on the market, cards that maybe you are aware of and you say, well, what about this card? Why didn't you say that? If you got a question about a card, or you think I'm wrong and one other card should have been talked about that wasn't, put that in the comments below and I will try to respond to it. So for the vast majority of people, cashback credit cards will be the way to go. Now, there is a smaller number of people who really want to get travel rewards credit cards. If you decide to go that route, know that you may have to do a little more work to figure out how to really maximize your points and how to get the most out of them. Some people love the chase and they love to figure out how to get credit card bonuses and get the most out of rewards and figure out how to redeem them so that they are getting outsized value, maybe getting a first class ticket on an international flight that is way below sticker price when you use points, or same thing for a luxury hotel, getting something way below what it would cost if you are paying cash, but you do have to generally put in a little more work. Now, we recently did a best travel credit cards video that gets more in depth into travel credit cards, so definitely watch that if you think this is the route you want to go. In this video, I'm going to stay a little bit higher level in terms of travel cards. Now, when it comes to travel cards, there are two paths you could potentially go down. You could go with a specific airline or hotel credit card, or you could go with one of the cards out there that offers you flexible points that you could use toward travel with a lot of different airlines or a lot of different hotel chains, or through a travel portal. For most people, I think the flexible points route is the better way to go, unless you are always traveling with a particular airline or you are always staying at a particular hotel chain. Maybe you live in a city that has an airline hub where you almost always have to go through the same airline, or maybe you travel a ton and have to stay at the same places over and over again. I think the flexible rewards cards are the way to go for more people. A lot of credit card issuers have really beefed up the travel rewards side of things over the past couple years, but I still think the two big dogs here are Chase and American Express. I usually recommend Chase, especially for people who are sort of newer to getting travel rewards, because I think their program is a little more user-friendly, a little easier to understand, more redemption options for you. So you have the Chase Ultimate Rewards program, which is the points program that all Chase branded cards use. Even if it's a cash back card, you're getting Ultimate Rewards points that you could use toward cash back or toward other things. So when it comes to a specific card, usually it is the Chase Sapphire Preferred that I would say is sort of the starter travel card with Chase. It's got a $95 annual fee, but you're gonna have a big bonus up front. It's gonna have some decent earning on this card. But the reason you start with the Chase Sapphire Preferred with Chase is because it is also going to be the card that unlocks the option to use your points either through the Chase Travel Portal, where you will get an extra 25% boost in value on those points when you book through Chase's Ultimate Rewards portal, or you can transfer the points you have with Chase into one of the frequent flyer or hotel programs of a Chase partner. And Chase has good travel transfer partners, including Southwest, United, Hyatt, Marriott, and others as well. So there are a lot of ways you can use your points for travel, or if you decide that for whatever reason you're not going to use your points for travel, you still have the option to take cash back at a penny per point, which is very nice. And also with Chase, you can take the points you are earning on other Chase cards, combine them with the points that you would earn on the Chase Sapphire Preferred, and still use them through the portal to get that 25% extra in value, or use them with one of the travel transfer partners. So if you look at something like the Chase Freedom Flex, like I mentioned earlier, giving you 5% back in certain categories, well, that's actually 5 points per dollar. And if you used it along with the Chase Sapphire Preferred, combine your points, those 5 points per dollar then get 25% more. They become 6.25 points or 6.25%. So hopefully that makes sense. You get more value for your points when you use them along with the Chase Sapphire Preferred through that portal, or potentially with one of the travel transfer partners. Now there also is the Chase Sapphire Reserve, the higher end travel card. It's got a higher annual fee. It's got some other things going on. If you travel a ton, you might want to look at that, but the Chase Sapphire Preferred is the card that I think is sort of the entry point into the Chase ecosystem. Now there's some travel reward snobs out there that would tell you that the Chase Ultimate Rewards program is for noobs and that the way to go is the American Express Membership Rewards program. Similar program, you're earning rewards that you can put toward travel or other possible redemptions. American Express has good travel transfer partners like Delta, like Hilton, like Marriott, and a lot of international airlines as well. They also have a travel portal. The thing about American Express is if you decide to go with American Express, you're kind of going all in, because the cards that American Express has that offer membership rewards points for the most part are going to have higher annual fees. You've got the American Express Platinum at a $695 annual fee. You've got the American Express Gold at a $250 annual fee. There's also the American Express Green that I think has a $150 annual fee as I make this video. So all of these cards are going to offer you rewards, and they're all going to have pretty decent upfront bonuses potentially for new card holders, but you are going to be paying annual fees that you're going to have to think to yourself, well, how is this cutting into the rewards I'm receiving? Now, the other thing about the Platinum card and the Gold card in particular is that you have a lot of potential credits with these cards. If you can use them, if they make sense for you, then the card is going to make more sense. So you've got things like credits from Uber, you've got a hotel credit on the American Express Platinum, you've got a potential airline incidentals credit. There are a lot of other things kind of tacked on to the American Express Platinum in a way, but the more you can take advantage of all these other credits and offers that are on the card, the more that $695 annual fee makes sense. And then you're also going to get access to things like airport lounges, and American Express has the best airport lounge network there. So if you're a little more into the luxe lifestyle and you're willing to pay a little bit more for it, well, then the American Express cards can make even more sense than Chase, and you might find that you can get even better redemptions through their travel transfer partners. It all depends on how much work you want to put in, how important it is to you. I always recommend Chase first because I think it's easier. But for people that really love travel rewards, oftentimes American Express is the way they go. Other travel cards to look at, the Capital One Venture X card. Capital One doesn't have as much to offer in terms of travel partners like Chase and American Express, but the Venture X has a very nice value proposition because it has a lower annual fee than some of the higher annual fee cards that the others have, and it gives you a big travel credit potentially every year, a nice big bonus potentially as a new card holder, and it's pretty easy if you really look at it to justify the annual fee on the Venture X versus some of the other cards on the market, even if it's not quite as flashy. The US Bank Altitude Reserve card is another one to look at, very popular with some people in the travel reward space. I don't love it quite as much as some of these other cards, but it is definitely popular. Another card I want to talk about here, and it's a card that is sort of difficult to figure out where it fits in some ways, and that is the Bilt Rewards MasterCard. This is a no annual fee card that gives you some decent rewards and has some decent travel transfer partners, but the big selling point for the Bilt Rewards MasterCard is the fact that it offers you rewards on your rent payments without any transaction fees, and the card has no annual fee. So normally if you wanted to pay your rent with a credit card, you'd have to pay some extra to do so. With the Bilt Rewards MasterCard, you do not. So you're going to earn some rewards without any fees, and then you can use those rewards to travel with transfer partners like American Airlines, and then there are other potential reward categories as well. Now, most of the cards I've just talked about, whether they are cashback or travel cards, are going to be for people that have some credit history and have a decent credit history with a decent credit score. If you are someone that is very new to credit, maybe you're a student, maybe you have bad credit, you might not have access to all of those cards. You might not have access to any of those cards, so I want to briefly talk about some cards that you might consider. First off, if you are new to credit and you're not a college student, you might want to look at Capital One and Discover right off the bat. They tend to be friendlier to people who are new to credit. Capital One Quicksilver, Discover It cards in particular, oftentimes you can get as your first credit card, or they might make you a counter offer of a different card that they offer. I also like the Pedal credit card, which is a newer credit card. It's been a few years now, but a newer credit card from a smaller credit card company that oftentimes people like. If you are a student, there are a few good student credit cards on the market. I like the Capital One Saver One card for students the best. Also, the Discover It student card is good, and Discover just is relentless about getting their credit card offers out to college students. So if you are a college student, you've probably already heard from them. Now, if you have bad credit, and bad credit is tough to define, but if your credit score is under 650, especially if it's under 600, cards you might look at, maybe the Capital One Platinum, which is a very no-frills card, but it is sort of the best card for people that don't have a great credit history from one of the major credit card issuers. Again, you might look at Pedal. Pedal has actually two different credit cards, and one of them is more for people whose credit history is not that great. You might look at Mission Lane as another possibility of a card that you could get with an annual fee or without, depending on how your credit history looks. Now, if you can't qualify for any of those cards, and the only credit card offers that you are getting or that you're seeing are things that have huge annual fees, have very low credit lines, that kind of stuff, those are really not cards that you want to be messing with. At that point, you're probably better off going with a secured credit card where you do have to put down a security deposit, but that security deposit is refundable as long as you pay all your bills with the card. My thought on the best secured card is the Discover secured card, not so much because the card is super great, although it's okay, but also because Discover oftentimes, if you do everything right with the card, you pay your bills on time, and it looks like you could become a good customer for Discover, they are going to, over a fairly short period of time, often give you back that security deposit and let you keep the card in an unsecured fashion, so you're now using it just like everybody else that has a Discover It card. So that is an overview of the best consumer credit cards here for the first half of 2023. We're really not going to cover small business in this particular video, but if you are a small business owner, I would say Chase and American Express in particular are the places to look, especially if you have Chase or American Express cards on the consumer side, because you can combine your points in the Ultimate Rewards program or American Express's membership rewards program between business and personal and get yourself some good redemptions that way. So that is it for this video. Questions, comments, would love to see them down in that comment section below. Otherwise, I thank you for watching, and as always, please go to proudmoney.com, where we do credit card reviews and we talk personal finance and we talk deals and all sorts of other fun stuff too. If you're not going to go to the website or you're not going to leave a comment, you should watch this video.